everyone, Dr. Gonzo O Boogie back again for part 3 of a complete tour of my movie collection. If you guys have been following these videos here, in part 1 I showed you guys my Blu-ray collection, and in part 2 I started to show you guys all of my DVDs. So in part 3 here I'm going to pick up where I left off and continue showing you guys all of my DVDs in my collection. So last time we left off over here with the John Carpenter films and Phantasm and a few Peter Jackson films. So we're gonna start off right here with the Evil Dead collection. And the Evil Dead films are some of my favorite horror movies ever made. I just love all 3 of those movies. I have a few cool copies of each Evil Dead film. I have the Ultimate Edition for the first Evil Dead, and I also have the Ultimate Edition of the Dawn of the Dead box set. So just love both of these sets here. 2 of my favorite DVD sets for sure. Alright, and I also have like a regular copy of Evil Dead. This has like a weird slipcover on it. And I also have the Elite Edition of Evil Dead, which I'm pretty sure this was the first DVD release of Evil Dead. Really cool stuff. I also have this old Anchor Bay release of Evil Dead 2 with the skull poster on the front. And then for Army of Darkness, I have a cool 2-disc set that comes with the theatrical cut and the director's cut. After that, I have The Man with the Screaming Brain, really cool Bruce Campbell movie. Pretty sure he wrote and directed that and starred in it. Really cool stuff. After that goes into my Friday the 13th collection. And if you guys know, I'm a huge fan of the Friday the 13th movies. It's my favorite horror movie series. And I usually watch all 8 of the original movies twice a year, usually around the summertime I watch them, and then again around Halloween time I usually watch them, so I just can never get enough of the Friday the 13th films. I got some cool editions of these. I have the first 4 released by Paramount, like on these separate editions here. I really love these because they use the original movie posters and they just look really cool with the red banner at the bottom and everything. I also have this Friday the 13th box set from Crystal Lake to Manhattan. This is one of my favorite box sets in my collection. I also have this set that comes with Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, and Freddy vs. Jason. After that, I have the Sleepaway Camp box set, and this is the hard to find edition that comes with the bonus 4th disc. Really cool stuff here. So glad to have this set. One of my favorite Anchor Bay releases in my collection. After that, I have the Reanimator films, Bride of Reanimator and Beyond Reanimator. I have some of the Return of the Living Dead films. Actually, my favorite Return of the Living Dead film is the 3rd one. For some reason I just really like that one. I have Night of the Demons 1 and 2, and then that leads into my Hellraiser collection. I have everything up to Hellworld. And I love the first 2 Hellraiser movies, some of the best late 80s horror films for sure. It's the Anchor Bay copy of the first one. And I also have this old Anchor Bay copy of the second one. Really like this edition because I don't see it in too many people's collection. I think it's a little bit hard to find. Hellraiser 3, like this edition of it too, with the giant special edition banner. Always love stuff like that. Alright, and then the rest of the Hellraiser films, I have Nightbreed, another Clive Barker film. Candyman, which was produced or written by Clive Barker. Then after that I have the first Pumpkinhead film, a cheap Leprechaun set that I picked up at Walmart. And then after that I have the Child's Play series, which I have the first one separate, and then I have the box set that comes with the second, third, and Bride of Chucky films, which Bride of Chucky might be my favorite out of all the Child's Play movies. And anyway, this is just a really sick box set. Again, another one of my favorite box sets in my collection. I also have the Blair Witch box set. I really like the first Blair Witch film. It's one of my favorite 90s horror movies, and this is a pretty cool box set. Comes with both Blair Witch movies, which the second Blair Witch movie really isn't that good. But, you know, it's worth getting for the collection because I like the first one so much. And then it comes with like a bonus disc with some weird computer games that probably don't work anymore. Alright, but that was it for the second row DVDs. So now let's work our way down to the third row. Alright, so down here I have some of my midnight movies, and then it just leads into like random horror releases, so go through this the best I can. So for the midnight movies, I have a good amount of these. I don't want to list off all of them, but I love collecting the midnight movie releases. They look really nice next to each other on a shelf. After that, I just got some random classic horror stuff like Plan 9 from Outer Space, Astro Zombies, some like cheap, you know, cheap budgety horror movies. Really good stuff though. Alright, after that, just kind of just random down here a little bit. Hard to really explain, but I have a few like exploitation films next to each other, like Thriller, A Cruel Picture, which is a pretty good rape revenge film. And I also have I Spit on Your Grave, which is another pretty good rape revenge film. This is the Millennium edition of this. Good stuff there. And then after that, I have some of my killer animal movies. I got Jaws, Grizzly, Frogs, Squirm, and Anaconda. I have a few werewolf movies after that. The Howling 2 and 3, and An American Werewolf in Paris. I gotta try to pick up the first Howling movie on DVD. Add that one to the collection. After that, I have Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things and Black Christmas. And Black Christmas kind of starts into my slasher films, so let's go through those. I have My Bloody Valentine, April Fool's Day, Happy Birthday to Me, When a Stranger Calls, Terror Train, Prom Night, Maniac. I got the Silent Night, Deadly Night 2-pack from Anchor Bay, which is kind of hard to find. Alice, Sweet Alice, really good slasher there. And then that's kind of the end of the slashers, but I have some other stuff, some other random Anchor Bays here. Fear No Evil, House, and Manhunter. And then last down here, I have the Deadly Spawn. So let's move over to the next part of this, which is kind of the end of my horror movies on DVD. After these, I have some random stuff here like Gremlins, Fright Night, kind of some like fun 80s horror movies, Monster Squad, Night of the Comet. I have some 90s horror stuff. Sorry about the focus here, it seems to be a little bit blurry. Some 90s horror stuff, Ghost Ship. I have the I Know What You Did Last Summer films and the Urban Legend films. And just some random horror packs, some like budgety stuff here, like this Kong set. This box set that comes with House on Haunted Hill and a bunch of other stuff. And then after that kind of moves into my TV show collection. So I'll go through that really quick. First off, in my TV shows, it's kind of a transition from my horror movies to my shows, is my Elvira stuff. I have both of Elvira's movies, which are awesome horror comedies, just really fun movies. Elvira is the best. Alright, then after that goes into my Elvira Midnight Movie collection. This was the show she had, oh, not Midnight Movie, Movie Macabre, I meant. This is the show she did in the 80s, and this is just such a fun, low-budget show. I love watching this. She hosts these B horror movies. I'm sure you guys know what Elvira does, but just in case you don't, she hosts a show where she plays old horror movies and she does little skits at the beginning and end and in between. Just really fun stuff. Alright, and after the Elvira stuff, it kind of just goes into the regular TV shows. I have The Munster Season 1. I got all 4 seasons of Tales from the Dark Side, my favorite horror anthology show. I got the Tales from the Dark Side movie, the Twilight Zone movie. I got Tales from the Crypt season 1. I would love to get some more seasons of that show. I got some of my Goosebumps releases. I always watch those around Halloween time. The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror set. I really think that they should put out a complete set of all the Treehouse of Horror episodes. This is just kind of like a compilation of 5 or 6 episodes. Got the Power Rangers movie, Garfield Holiday Special Collection. These are the old school 80s Garfield holiday specials, the Halloween and Christmas one. I love these. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, probably one of my favorite cartoons ever. And then I just have some Blondie stuff here. Like I mentioned in part 1, Blondie is one of my favorite bands, and I have some live shows from them, and also like behind the music documentary thing. Alright, let's move on to the last row in my DVD collection. And I'm going to go through this kind of quick, because like I said, this camera only records 20-minute long videos at a time, which is a pain. And I'm running on the 12-minute mark here. So I'm going to try to go through these as quick as I can. Down here is actually kind of like my sci-fi movies, which lead into kind of like my Roger Corman stuff. And then I have more sci-fi movies over here. And then the end over here is just kind of like my other stuff that's not horror or sci-fi. So like I said, just gonna go through this stuff really quick, show you guys some of the highlights. So first off here we have some classic sci-fi with Metropolis and King Kong, which King Kong is, it's not really a sci-fi movie, but it's part of that big monster genre, so I figured it fit down here better than it fit up with the horror stuff. I actually have all the King Kong movies on DVD. Well, not all of them, but I have most of them. Got a 2-pack with King Kong and Son of Kong, Mighty Joe Young, King Kong vs. Godzilla, and King Kong Escapes. These are the 2 Toho King Kong movies. These are a lot of fun to watch. I got the, what is that, the 70s King Kong remake. Just call it King Kong. And then after that I have the Most Dangerous Game Criterion collection. And then my classic sci-fi stuff continues with some Universal sci-fi stuff. This Island Earth, which is a classic with this little alien dude who's kind of become well known in the Universal Monster stuff. They always make figures and stuff of him now. And then the 2 Universal classic sci-fi sets. Awesome classic sci-fi sets. And then I have some of these Warner Brothers Snapper Case sci-fi films. I grouped them all together because they look good together, but I got The Thing from Another World, some like big monster movies like Them, the Giant Ants one, which is pretty cool, Forbidden Planet, Logan's Run. Got some Charlton Heston sci-fi classics here, the Omega Man, Soylent Green, and then the all-time classic Planet of the Apes. I have the first 4 Planet of the Apes films on DVD. I think there's 5 of them. There might even be more than that. But I do want to get all of them on DVD eventually. But for now, just happy to have those ones. What else we have here? The Day the Earth Stood Still, War of the Worlds, Barbarella, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I have Beastmaster down here. It's a Don Carcerelli film. This is the Anchor Bay edition. Really glad to find this one because this is hard to find too. Got the Highlander Anchor Bay edition. Really cool stuff. Highlander 2, which is a horrible movie, but it's still fun to watch every now and then. Fortress, which is a film with Christopher Lambert in it, who was in Highlander. This was also directed by Stuart Gordon. This is actually a pretty good sci-fi action movie. If you guys never heard of it, recommend that one. Repo Man, the Blob remake. This is like the 80s remake of the Blob. This is a lot of fun. Really like that. Species 1 and 2. Good films there. And then after that kind of goes into my Roger Corman collection, which I have a bunch of these cult classic releases from Shout Factory, which are just awesome. One day I want to get a complete collection of these, of course, but don't have enough time to go through all the ones that I have right here, because you know I don't want to waste too much time, but I will just quickly go over these. Death Rays, Piranha, Humanoids of the Deep, Not of This Earth, a lot of good stuff there. Rock and Roll High School, it's not a bootleg, it's just kind of like a cheaper edition of it. And then at the very end here, I have a few of my Troma releases. I only have 2 Troma films on DVD. The Toxic Avenger. This is like the 21st anniversary edition. Classic stuff there, though. And then this I actually just recently picked up. This is the 3-disc Poltergeist. I haven't watched that yet, but I'm really looking forward to watching that. And then really quickly, I'm just going to show you guys this stuff right here. This is my sci-fi stuff continued. I have an Alien box set. Really cool stuff there. This cool release of the first Alien film. I also have the Blade Runner 4-disc. As you guys saw, I have the 5-disc release on Blu-ray. Legend, I have the Predator films. I figured those fit good after the Alien stuff, so I put them right here. I got Predator, Predator 2, and then AVP. Got my Terminator films. Got the first 2 Terminator films, and then I got the Criterion of RoboCop. After that is my David Cronenberg stuff. David Cronenberg is one of my all-time favorite directors. I have The Brood, the Criterion of Scanners. I have some like weird Region 2, Region B releases of Scanners 2 and 3. I have a couple copies of Videodrome on DVD, the Criterion, which I also have on Blu-ray. And then just like the basic Universal edition of that. I have this cool 2-pack with both of the Fly movies and the Criterion of Naked Lunch. After that is my Stanley Kubrick films, another one of my all-time favorite directors ever. And then after the Kubrick stuff is just kind of random movies that I just put at the end because I don't really have any other spaces for them or any other place to put them. So I have like my Monty Python and Terry Gilliam stuff. So I got the Search for the Holy Grail, Time Bandits, and Brazil. I have a few David Lynch movies, Eraserhead and Blue Velvet. I also have River's Edge, which is a really good movie too. Not a David Lynch movie, but still really good. Then I got some Quentin Tarantino stuff. I got Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction. I got the Kill Bill box set. Always wanted this. So glad that I finally got this in my collection because like I said, these are my 2 favorite Quentin Tarantino films. I also had this cool Rambo box set. I love the Rambo films. The first Rambo film, First Blood, is one of my favorite non-horror movies. Just love everything about that movie. And then last year I have a few Christmas movies, Jingle All the Way and Home Alone. And that is it for the DVD collection, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the tour of that. And in the next part of this, which will be part 4 of the complete tour of my movie collection, in part 4 I'll be showing you guys all of my VHSs, and I have a ton of VHSs, so I'll do my best to go through those